Good morning. I'm still recording on the 18th. I realized there's some things I missed. I had an appointment that I had to make, and I had to step aside for a few moments. And I wanted to finish recording more about um, mental illness and about the benefits you can get. Um, I'm gonna put in writing a book about the benefits that you can get from the government and local authorities that can help you with mental illness. Um, there are many forms of mental illness. My form of mental illness is schizoaffective disorder, which is like schizophrenia, has all the symptoms of schizophrenia, but also has a mood component similar to manic depression or bipolar. So I have a mood disorder as well. So I have to be on a mood stabilizer like lithium. I'm on currently 900 milligrams of lithium, which is half the normal dose. I don't need as much lithium as a normal patient because my mood component is rather it's mild, but there are times when I've become manic or manic hypomanic. Hypomanic is when you are about to become manic, and manic is are full blown mania. Full blown mania is when you have delusions, you think fast, you talk fast, you have all these plans, you have a lot of goals, like unrealistic amount of goals, things like that. And hypomania is just when you're just about to get there, and you're above normal, but you're not quite manic, but you're really goal oriented. You're thinking really fast. You might make mistakes. You might talk fast. You run around the apartment or around town doing a million things, and you're not slowing down. You're not sleeping, and that's what hypomania kind of can be like. Um, but the schizophrenic part is more the delusional, like thinking you have 55,000 wives or something like that, or that you're God, or that you're talking to the refrigerator, or you think the announcer on the radio or television is talking directly to you, or there are a million different symptoms of schizophrenia, and you can look those up online or in a psychiatric DSM-5 or 4 or 3. Schizophrenia has many symptoms, and my particular brand of mental illness is schizoaffective. The affective is the mood component. The schizo is the schizophrenic component. I get treated the same way a schizophrenic would, but also as a bipolar person as well. So I have to take a mood stabilizer like lithium or Depakote or Lamictal or something like that. Currently, I'm on a number of meds. I take Lamictal. No, I don't take Lamictal. I take Latuda. Latuda is antipsychotic. It's relatively new. It works well for me, and it doesn't cause weight gain like some of the other antipsychotics or neuroleptic medications that are used to treat schizophrenia. I take lithium 900. I mentioned that earlier. I'm also on Haldol, which is a antipsychotic medication. I'm on quite a bit. I take 15 milligrams daily, but I also take a shot every 3 weeks of Haldol. That way, it doesn't leave my system right away and it stays in my body. And I have to get a shot every 3 weeks in my shoulder. I usually go to Court Square or Rutland Mental Health Services, and I get my shot there on Wednesdays at 12. Um, Maybe I shouldn't tell people where I get my shot or so much personal details of my life because maybe someone will show up with a knife or something or a battle axe and chop my head off. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but I'm just joking around. I'm not delusional. I'm just maybe if I tell too many personal details like my telephone number or my address, someone might show up someday like, hey, you're that crazy guy on the internet. And I'm like, whoa, buddy, don't come at my apartment. But anyways, um, uh, My story of schizophrenia is typical. I first became sick when I was 22. I was in California, Santa Barbara. I had a full blown psychotic episode. I was smoking marijuana for like the second or third time in my life, and it exacerbated the situation. I started to hear voices. Voices is another symptom of schizophrenia. Um, some people would say I'm telepathic. Some people would say it's a chemical, neurologic's the problem. Many theories out there as to what this is. Could be spiritual, could be physical, could be medical. Who knows? There's a lot of different theories. But I started to hear voices, and I got really sick, and I had to get hospitalized. And that's my first hospitalization in Ventura, California. I mentioned that in my previous video. And I mentioned how I had to be brought back to New Hampshire by my brother. My brother was sent up by my parents to come get me. And I mentioned that in my book. My book chronicles the whole story about me getting sick and smoking marijuana. And, um, I got sick and I had to come home. And I've been in the New England area ever since. And that was a long time ago. It was some 25 years ago. Um, Meanwhile, I've been trying to go back to school for 25 years. I've been trying to go back to school, get my degree. I did get an Associates of Architectural Engineering in 2001 from the New Hampshire Technical Institute. It took me 5 years of going part time to get my degree. I dropped out twice because in 1997 my mother passed away, and I was really just devastated and destroyed when my mother died. I I loved my mother very much. We did not agree about a lot of things back then because I was much younger and I thought I knew it all. Um, I didn't want to take medication. I didn't want to be in treatment. My dad was very adamant that I needed to be in treatment and I needed to take my medication, or else my mother and father couldn't help me. And fortunately, before my dad died, I was able to get on the bandwagon and start taking my meds, and I got my associates in 2001. I worked for a little while, um, and then I ended up moving to Vermont to go to the Vermont Technical College to get my bachelor's. I never completed my bachelor's, and I've been in Vermont ever since. And that was 2003 that I ended up in Vermont. Um, I've been working many jobs. I've gone to many different schools trying to find out what it is I want to do with my life, because I tried everything from the Art Institute of Pittsburgh online, and I tried Kaplan University online. I tried Norwich University. I tried Vermont Technical College. I tried Community College of Vermont. And right now I'm at Castleton University. I mentioned that in my earlier video. And um, I'm trying to become a PA now, physician assistant. I would like to be a psychiatric PA, and I think I can help a lot of people with all the experience I've had. I think I mentioned in my earlier video, for 20 years I had chronic and terrible panic attacks. The panic attacks basically crippled me, and I couldn't keep a job. The only job I could keep was delivering newspapers at 2 in the morning, because the stimulation, I wouldn't get stimulated when I delivered my papers from 2 to 4 or 2 to 6 in the morning. I did that 7 days a week, 364 days a year for about 5, 6 years. And um, I want to talk briefly about my first marriage. My first marriage was successful in a lot of ways, but it was unsuccessful in that I had never been married before. My previous wife had been married twice before, and uh, I don't think we were both ready to be married. I think we both weren't ready for the responsibilities of being married. I was very frustrated with Margaret, very frustrated, and I didn't know how to handle certain things, and I had trouble bringing up certain things to her, and she was very sensitive, and we eventually split over money, and Margaret was a great woman, and we're still best friends to this day. But she, you know, I think we rushed into it, even though we courted each other for 11 months before we got married. Um, I proposed for, I proposed 11 months before we got married. Um, it was kind of difficult. It was difficult because um, it's hard to put into words why it didn't work out. It was my first marriage, and I had to learn a lot about relationships, and I had a lot of issues from my past that kept on coming up, things from my childhood, you know. So I'm working on those things in therapy, but um, I recommend that if you have a mental illness, that you do get therapy. Um, Most mental health centers will give you therapy along with case management and seeing a psychiatrist or a psychiatric nurse or a PA. It's important that you get therapy to work on your issues and your problems and your past. Usually, people become mentally ill because of their past. There's no proof that mental illness is biological. There's theories that of nature versus nurture, where um, mental illness is completely biological, where it's DNA. And some people believe that it's environmental, where how you were raised, or how you were raised in the womb, or how you were raised as a teenager, or that some like traumatic event happened and now you have PTSD or you become mentally ill because of it. There's a combination of both. It's a combination of genetics and biology and environment and and trauma. Combination of all those things that can cause mental illness, and there are ways to deal with those things. Medication will take care of the biological problem, and therapy will help with the trauma or environmental problems. So there's ways to combat mental illness, and I'll do another video about what I've learned about how you can handle or cope with the symptoms of mental illness and successfully have a good life and be able to maintain your life. And hopefully someday I won't need the benefits that I get from the government. Hopefully someday I will be able to become a PA and get my degree, finish my bachelor's, and go on to get my master's of physician assistantship and become a successful physician assistant and be able to help others with mental illness. So please um, leave comments below. I'll leave that link for the students with schizophrenia below. Link that helps, that organization is to help people with mental illness or schizophrenia who are in college, and they offer resources that you can use. You should use every resource available to you when you go to college if you have mental illness. And this is Michael Van Audley Bennett signing off. Don't forget to read Lost in Schizophrenia, and have a great day. Take care.